Thank you so much for tuning in to watch the UBC News Roundup today on the 25th of Sunday, 2021. And we're in the month of April, just a few days to come to the end of the month. A very good afternoon. My name is Sharon, Kyomugisha, and welcome once again. Now in our top stories of the week, President Yoweri Museveni this week asked members of parliament to be the eyes and hands of government and put the various ministries and government agencies to task to do what they're supposed to do. He advised members of parliament to always be courageous and monitor government programs in the local governments and in their respective constituencies. We have details on this story.
Addressing newly elected NRM members of parliament at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi, the president, who is also the chairman, called on them to fight misuse of money by government officials.
So now you the MPs, you must choose now whether to be friends with your corrupt local governments and fall with them, or stand with the people against corruption in the district, because there's a lot of corruption in the district. Be hated by the thieves, but be loved by the people. So you must make a choice.
He cited the example set by Mrs. Janet Museveni, who pointed out corruption tendencies at local government level while State Minister for Karamoja.
Because when I appointed her as a Minister for Karamoja, even when she was a Member of Parliament in Rahama, one of the things she detected was the misuse of money by the local governments. When she went to Karamoja, those districts of Karamoja, each district was getting 800 million shillings for water, each district. And there are eight districts in Karamoja. She pointed out to me, she said, this money, 800 million for each district, each year. Where is this money? So now you the MPs, you must choose now.
The First Lady, who is also Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, called on MPs to prioritize the interests of the people who elected them.
Your coming to leadership at this time is an opportune moment for you to add your own brick on the building of our country. Please remember that what we do is stand among Ugandans and put our own brick on the building of the house of our homeland. When you are given that opportunity, please don't take it lightly. Servant leadership is a leadership philosophy in which the goal of the leader is to serve. For many, the word leadership connotes power, authority, honor, prestige, or personal gain. Servant leadership, on the other hand, puts service at the center. The servant leader focuses primarily on the growth and well-being of the people and the community to which they belong. When leaders embrace servant leadership, they choose to serve others rather than use them. As members of Parliament, we are expected to be servants of the people who elected us. That means we are to serve them, not to lord it over them. Lead them, give them a sense of direction, and evoke a sense of trust and teamwork in them. Then and only then shall we be dependable and accountable servants of the people we represent.
In more stories, President Yoweri Museveni, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, this week promoted 40 senior officers of the Uganda People's Defence Forces to higher ranks. President Museveni promoted 7 officers from the rank of Brigadier General to the rank of Major General. He also promoted 33 others from the rank of Colonel to Brigadier General. Among those promoted is Brigadier General Kayanja Muhanga, now Major General Muhanga. He was recently tasked to coordinate the Kampala Joint Security Operations during the recently concluded general elections. Other senior officers promoted to the rank of Major General include Francis Takira, UPDF 2nd Division Commander in Bara, Mike Odonga, Military Attaché to Saudi Arabia, Octavius Buturo, Deputy Commandant, Senior Command and Staff College Chimaka, Adik Olumprit, Military Attaché to DRC, David K. Wakalo in Operations Wealth Creation, and David Kyomugisha, Director of National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda People's Defence Forces has confirmed the promotions of UPDF personnel to various ranks. Among the promoted generals and senior officers are the following. Those that have been promoted from Brigadier General to Major General include David Kyomugisha, David K. Wakalo, Michael Odonga, Francis Takira, Dick Olumprit, Kayanja Muhanga, and Octavius Buturo. Those that have been promoted from Colonel to Brigadier General include Caleb Mugisha, Joram Kajezi, Sharif Stephen Gava, Tom Chikoyo Kawiye, John Biuma, Francis Kashaka, John Sasa Obima, Bedon Tejerize, Paul Eswapo, Godfrey K. Mwanguzi, James Rubahika, Abdul Kasule, Emmanuel Kwihangana, Agnes Musoke, Vincent Luanga Stemfuka, Mwanje Sechidanda, Francis Bosakato, Robert Freeman Mugabe, Alex Gabla Lugeni, Eriazel Sake Okolong, Anthony Lukwago Mbusi, Maximus Gumesiriza, Chris Ogwal, Fred Twinamatiko, Kef Nongesa, Kefa Nangeso, Charles Chisembo, Ham Atwoki Kaija, Julius Bagonza, Christopher Apuli Kasaija, Fred Chiinji, David Robert Gonyi, Felix Busizori, and Keith Katunji. The UPDF fraternity congratulates them for their patriotic service to our country, Uganda. Well, congratulations to all those that were promoted by the President yesterday. In more stories during the week, the Minister for Information and National Guidance, Judith Nabakoba, this week said government is in advanced stages of revisiting the issuance of unregistered SIM cards and substandard mobile phones. Nabakoba was meeting media editors, talk show hosts and program directors from Ankole and Kigezi sub-regions in Bara City.
Security operatives continue to grapple with an increase in crime arising from usage of unregistered SIM cards.
There is a wave of theft of number plates of vehicles. Most of the cases, they use SIM cards which are registered, but we have discovered that the Rutajara registers for Nicholas, registers for Nathan, registers for Maureen. Then at the end of the day, it's hard. But again, we still have some conmen who are still using unregistered SIM card. What happened to the deadline? It is beating our investigation. It is beating us to. We are in the world of ICT, so we can't penetrate somewhere because of those unregistered SIM cards.
However, the Minister for Information and National Guidance, Judith Nabakoba, says plans are underway to crack down the culprits.
The process was on, and UCC was telling us that it ended, but we want to review that process. Having gotten a number of complaints from the security agencies, it seems the exercise was not concluded. To them, was incomplete. The exercise was incomplete. We have seen people still using SIM cards which are not registered. Then SIM cards registered in someone else's, names. So we are going to engage the telecos with UCC to see how we can probably have a drive of SIM card registration, especially going for those SIM cards which are not officially registered with the telecom operators.
According to Nabakoba, the enforcement is aimed at ensuring substandard mobile phones, dealers and those with SIM cards registered using annexed IDs are fixed once and for all.
And we are also going to begin on a drive of fake mobile phones. Of course, we were on hold because of the season, but right now we are looking at a holistic program of sensitizing communities to watch out for the fake phones. If they are in saturation, at one point after sensitizing and taking you through what is required and how to tell that this is genuine, this is not genuine, UCC will just shut them.
The minister was meeting media practitioners from Kigezi and Ankole sub-regions in Mbarara City with the call to uphold professionalism and ethics.
I would like to know the plan the Ministry of ICT and UCC are having on the issue of media rights and freedoms right here in Uganda.
Somebody just wakes up in a day because they have a good voice. Amanyi okwogera obulungi, asobola okumatiza abantu n'agenda ku mpewo ne bamutestinga, please yogera, yes, this one is good. Yes. Are we guarding the profession we are talking about? I did journalism, I did mass comm personally. But are we proud of our profession?
Uganda Communications Commission was represented by the head of Communications and Corporate Affairs, Ibrahim Bossa.
So many of our regulations and laws are not any different, I will assure you. So laws and regulations do exist. And any citizen, if you're Ugandan and you do not want to follow a law, then I don't know how Ugandan you are.
The call to have a vibrant media council and a media act, according to regional media practitioners, must be given utmost attention. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Mbarara City.
In more stories, Parliament this week approved a report of the Committee on National Economy to guarantee Uganda Development Bank to borrow 15 million euros from the European Investment Bank. It also approved borrowing $10 million from the International Islamic Trade Finance Corporation, $20 million from OPEC Fund for International Development, and another $20 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa. This aims at recapitalizing Uganda Development Bank to enable it finance both small-scale businesses and large-scale investments, despite of the 450 billion Ugandan shillings the government invested in UDB at the height of COVID-19 pandemic.
The report to guarantee the Uganda Development Bank lines of credit was brought to the National Economy Committee of Parliament for consideration for the House to pass under Rule 175 subsection 2B of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure. The first leg of the report involves borrowing euros 15 million from the European Investment Bank, US dollars 10 million from the International Islamic Trade Financing Corporation, US dollars 20 million from the OPEC Fund for International Development, and another US dollars 20 million from the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa.
Right, Honourable Speaker, on the purpose of the proposed line of credit, UDB has a pipeline of 709 billion of small and medium enterprises that need long-term financing.
However, government justifications of recapitalizing Uganda Development Bank with this huge external borrowing involves exclusive financing of eligible import transactions from Arab countries to UDBL eligible importers, on lending purposes to enable Uganda Development Bank limited finance projects and transactions in favor of its clients from the private sector, exclusive financing of up to 50% of the aggregate cost projects, among others. But MPs were concerned with UDB's failure to support small-scale businesses to add value addition.
The money that left the Ministry of Finance to Uganda Development Bank was again given to an investor who is in real estate where we don't expect Uganda Development Bank to deal instead of helping the sectors that had suffered through the COVID-19. Right, Honorable Speaker, Uganda have the history that Uganda Development Bank was put down by the mafias that are so selfish and feel whatever is in this country of these banks.
However, Committee Chairperson Saida Bumba opted for government coming up with interventions, especially in lowering interest rates to attract investments in the agriculture sector.
The committee recommends that government should ensure that the infrastructure investments financed by debt yield the envisaged growth dividend, and that government should improve on revenue collection by 0.5% of GDP per year over the next 5 years.
Meanwhile, members of the committee also established that the report tabled before Parliament lacked an audited report from the Auditor General into the expenditure of the previous 455 billion shillings appropriated for UDB as stimulus package to support collapsing businesses in the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. The audit report found UDB expenditure wanting, but for reasons not clearly elaborated to the House, the audit report was not attached as required by the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure.
I'm seeking procedural guidance on two things. One, the auditing report has made be expanded because it's not here. And two, I would think that Chair, you should Speaker, you could probably come up with specific guidance as to how we can now present documents which we can refer to after our debate, because some of the way things are going, it looks as if we are told documents have been made when actually the documents are not there. Madam Speaker, and even you echoed that, is it, have you laid the paper on the table? Says everything is on the file. Madam Speaker, when something comes up, we need to have stringent measures to restrain these chairpersons who are presenting serious documents this House, Ugandans. Right, Honorable Speaker, I saw the soft copy of the report, and I instructed the clerk to make it part of the document. But what he did, he put there the annual report. He said that the other one was too voluminous, but I apologize for that omission, and right, Honorable Speaker, the report will be provided tomorrow.
Daniel Mugoya, Timothy Sibasi, UBC News.
Still in the course of the week, the police crime report for 2020 was released this week, showing that the crime has reduced in 2020 compared to 2019, though the figures remain high. As Ivan Kawa reports, the reduction has been attributed to the 2020 COVID-19 lockdown that froze some criminal activities.
The Police Annual Crime Report 2020 reveals a reduction of 8.9% in the volume of crime reported as of 1st January to 31st December 2020. The reduction is attributed to a countrywide lockdown announced in March 2020, installation of CCTV cameras, sensitization among the masses, and effective response of police.
And for the electioneering period,
more crime was reported in rural areas compared to urban areas, 52.9%, totaling to 103,782 cases in rural areas, while 43.9% in urban areas, totaling to 86,181 cases, whereas 3.14%, constituting 5,968, were committed along highways.
KMP South, that graph, had the highest number of cases among the 28 regions of the Uganda Police Force, followed by Ruizi, that is the Western region, then KMP North, KMP East, Greater Masaka, Katonga, Rwenzori, Albertine, West Nile, and Elgon.
12,858 road accidents were reported in 2019, while 12,249 in 2020, a reduction of 4.7%, though the number remained high. The road carnage was attributed to reckless driving, though bad roads are captured in the report.
KCCA has waged war on those potholes and roundabouts, and they are soon getting signalized.
3,663 deaths related to traffic accidents were recorded. Male fatalities constituted 2,935, while females were 718. This was partly because males are more likely to engage in dangerous behavior while on the road than their female counterparts. Pedestrians die more when it comes to road accidents.
But we still lose more than 1,000 pedestrians on our roads.
The report also reveals that 272 million stolen cash was recovered from the recorded 2 billion. 7 million was recovered from 5 billion lost to cybercrime. 220 million recovered from 4 billion lost due to land fraud.
Actually, this chair is because cases are reported when the money is already stolen and transferred, some to outside countries in accounts outside and withdrawn, even if it is withdrawn within Kampala, because the perpetrators even use false documents to register accounts, to register with the URSB, and so it becomes very hard to recover.
The report indicates that 4,000 phones were stolen in 2020 compared to 5,000 phones that were stolen in 2019. But the same report is silent on the number of phones that were recovered by Uganda police.
Some phones are stolen and taken to other countries, and as long as it has been taken to another telephone company, for example, the neighboring countries, I don't want to mention, then in our system we can't track, but we have the capacity to track.
Victims are advised to report cases in time and as well report any form of extortion, since police chiefs say getting money from victims is not the norm of Uganda police. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News at Naguru Police Headquarters.
Government of Uganda has banned importation of food to feed refugees in by the World Food Programme. The Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Hilary Onek, this week said that Uganda has more and high-quality food which can feed all the refugees in the country, thereby urging the World Food Programmes and other agencies to support the Buy Uganda and Build Uganda Bubu initiative.
I want to totally disagree with you. All these Ugandans, including me, tall as I am, I'm eating our food here. I haven't died. These people are coming to our country. Do we have to import food to feed them when we have our own food? If they don't want to eat our food, let them go where the other food is.
Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Hilary Onek, is to put into consideration the banning and importation of food used to feed refugees in the country by World Food Programme. In his defense, Mr. Onek says the country is well off in agriculture and capable of producing good quality food to feed the refugees.
I will discuss this with my cabinet colleagues, and we are going to cause no procurement of food from outside Uganda by the World Food Programme. Let the money remain here. Our farmers have there are a lot of food around here. Cereals are there, and so I don't see the reason why we, the Kenyans, our farmers smuggle food like maize and so on to Kenya, and Kenya process, then the World Food Programme goes and buy from Kenya and bring it back to Uganda. Why do you do that?
The UN Resident Coordinator, Rosa Malango, attributes importation of food by the UN World Food Programme to research carried out by the organization that indicates poor harvest handling by Ugandan farmers.
So we launched the country dialogues on food systems in Uganda last Friday. One of the issues to tackle there, Honorable Minister, is the issue of the poor quality of post-harvest handling. This is the only reason why, despite investing for several years, we have not been able to purchase locally in Uganda.
If you think quality is not good, you bring equipment to test the food here locally. So I think I don't accept this excuse of quality. Our quality is excellent, and that's what has fed us, and we have grown up now. Thank you.
So it's not that we're not buying. we're buying, but we're not maybe buying at the scale that you would want. Just to reiterate, just this past week, we launched a program in Karamoja called Karamoja Feeds Karamoja.
Meanwhile, the government of Japan has contributed 36 billion shillings to Uganda through 8 agencies in supporting refugees. The contribution is to mitigate impacts of COVID-19 on refugees, promote their livelihood and healthcare, among others.
This year, the government of Japan decided to make another contribution of approximately 9.8 million US dollars, which is approximately 36 billion Uganda shillings. Therefore, the 2021 contribution has been made with a specific focus on mitigating the impacts of the COVID-19 to the vulnerable population, including refugees, host community members, women and children in Uganda.
Having already a big number of refugees in the country, the government of Uganda is currently not registering more refugees, although they still show up in different refugee settlements. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
From Parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, this week directed the Committee on Finance to review the performance of Kyomugisha funds. This follows legislators' concerns over unclear channels and requirements involved in accessing the funds.
The Kyomugisha fund disbursement has raised concern among the public, despite government allocating 260 billion shillings to benefit 19 groups in every constituency. According to the breakdown, each group is entitled to 30 million shillings and an allocation of 500 million shillings is set aside for each constituency. Kinkizi West legislator Paul Kaberuka told Parliament that Kinkizi West constituency youth must produce collateral and subscription fee before accessing the fund.
2,500 members supposedly to share 30 million.
This attracted debate among the members, calling for a complete review of the entire project.
It is very unfortunate. We need to really concretize some of these programs for our people to benefit better. Let the government come out with a clear message. What is the yoga? So that it is the same.
But State Minister for Finance David Bahati denied the allegations and promised to follow up the matter.
It's not, this money is not for sharing. This money is working capital for groups who want to improve their household income. And it's not supposed to have collateral. A group is enough collateral for that money. And therefore we are sending a message from this house, and after here, we'll be able to communicate to all commercial officers and microfinance support centers in our region that no collateral should be asked for this money. This money, if used very well, can actually improve the household income of our communities. And therefore, Madam Speaker, through here, I would like to want members of this House to support this program. Where there are weaknesses, let us address them, because we are the ones who appropriated this money. 260 billion was appropriated by this House. So I'm giving notice to the Committee on Finance, soon after reviewing this, in concluding meetings over that issue, so that we can listen to all the problems and then resolve it.
Government launched the Kyomugisha Fund in 2019 to transform Ugandan households from subsistence to market-oriented production. Over 6,300 SACCOs have registered with the Microfinance Support Center, MSC, to access the funds. At least 184,870 billion shillings out of the 260 billion has been disbursed.
Parliament this week asked government to revise the parish development model, which aims at relieving Ugandans of poverty. Parliamentarians, backed by the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, have asked Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Mathieu Kasaija, to carry out a pilot study on the proposed parish model strategy before slapping a huge 403 billion in the budget. Now, Kasaija was also recently bounced by the Budget Committee after he failed to impress the members about the intended parish model plan.
The money language has continued to dominate the rhythm as the 10th Parliament gets concerned over misallocation of government funds targeting the fight to end poverty in Uganda. Matia Kasaija, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, has since been challenged in satisfying the government-approved program dubbed the Parish Model, which aims at organizing and delivering public and private sector interventions for wealth creation and employment generation at parish level. Kasaija, who was bounced by the Budget Committee of Parliament recently, has tabled a ministerial statement on the parish development model to the 10th Parliament, which he described in 7 pillars, including financial inclusion, social services, mindset change and community data, among others.
Pillar number 3, financial inclusion. Interventions under this pillar are intended to promote savings and investment by households in activities with potential for generating a production surplus. The specific interventions include 1. Establishment and capitalization of the parish revolving fund. 2. Supervision of parish-based circles.
In the parish development model, government seeks over 400 billion in the next financial year 2021-2022 to fight poverty, especially at the grassroots levels.
And will be managed by a specialized financial institution, that is the parish circle, that is supervised by a regulator for their perpetual use and multiplication.
The House, which was seething like a beehive, could not let Minister Kasaija enjoy his seat, as members of Parliament described the minister's plea as an ambush which lacks research and information.
Why? You said very well that according to the local government, parish level is a planning level. So why are you turning the planning level into an implementation level? 2,
by these circles, most of them disappeared. The money of people were eaten up by others. And now when you talk about circles, people are not impressed with the circles. So the way this money is going to be given, that's the one way of failing.
Work money for women, collapse the youth money, and collapse all these other projects. Agricultural ministry must actually be closed, because now it will have nothing, because all these projects you have talked about, coffee, whatnot, cotton, will now not be driven under the Ministry of Agriculture.
The legislators have advised government to instead strengthen the already available programs of the same than introducing more of slogans.
What hypothetical question are you trying to answer through this parish model that has not been answered by other government interventions? And I want to specifically interest myself.
What we were saying, the TVA was putting centers of excellence at every parish so that government would give these areas money. You take your coffee, you take your beans, government buys them, even if they lose market, but the farmer has got food.
About 10,594 parishes are currently in Uganda, and according to Minister Kasaija, each parish, if given chance of the parish development model, will be able to get about 38.16 million shillings, which funds will cater for all interest groups.
And the Uganda is not ending tomorrow. Why don't you move slowly? Maybe you pilot. Let's do an experiment. But you are stampeding and stampeding, and this is not right. This is not right.
So, and I'm saying that it's better to start. Let's start, then we move on. We may see our pitfalls and then try to rectify them.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwita Binji, UBC News.
The retired Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, His Grace Stanley Ntagali, this week confessed and sought forgiveness for his acts of adultery. Appearing remorseful, Ntagali openly sought for forgiveness from the church and both his and the family of Bishop Christopher. This was during the 68th anniversary of self-governance of the Church of Uganda. Watch.
The
Anglican Church of Uganda has marked 60 years of self-governance behind muted celebrations, except for Thanksgiving service that was held at St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe. Tight marked with the standard operating procedures, the congregation here ensured full adherence to social distancing and wearing of face masks. Presiding over the service was Right Reverend George Katwesije, who recounted how far the Church of Uganda has come, stemming from the days of the native Church of England.
And some of us belong to that native Church of England. In our prayers, where we pray for the head of state, we are praying for the Queen. And we had crammed all those names and titles.
Reverend Katwesije also took cognizance of the previous political turmoil that nearly grounded the institution.
Some of us have met some challenges and probably some persecutions. Were moments when we knew this is the end. But the day they killed the Archbishop, I had seen him in the morning. The following morning, for one reason or another, I was in Mulago. I just discovered he was in the mortuary.
He also sought the congregation to stand firm in faith, for the reward awaits them. During the Thanksgiving service, Archbishop Emeritus Stanley Ntagali confessed his adultery sin and asked for forgiveness, pledging to renew his faith in God, the strong foundation of the church.
I have a confession. On Christmas Eve, 1974, as a young man, I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And I still love the Lord because he has loved me, and I have loved to serve him over. Please forgive me. I thank the Lord for loving me, and I will continue serving him until he calls me home. Praise the Lord.
Meanwhile, the Church of Uganda has launched a project dubbed Kingdom Development Org Kido that is envisaged to promote self-sustainability of the institution. To grace the launch was the former Prime Minister John Patrick Amama Mbabazi. To cause a big footprint in the financial stability of the institution, Mbabazi advised the church to ensure that the church land countrywide is fully titled.
The church must strive to preserve the assets acquired in these 60 years, most especially land. Land is needed to generate revenue for the church. It is a blessing from God, and without it, our efforts for having a self-sustaining church will be in vain. On this matter, therefore, I advise the church leadership to ensure that they process titles for all church land across the province. There are several cases of land grabbing across the province. People are not ashamed to steal church land. This is unbelievable but true. It's a fact. We must secure our land.
The Church of Uganda became self-governing in 1961 when the then Bishop of the Diocese of Uganda, Leslie Brown, was enthroned as the first Archbishop of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi and Bonga Zaire. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Still in the course of the week, Uganda Wildlife Authority this week took full charge of Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary following persistent misunderstandings between Rhino Fund Uganda and wildlife ranchers, the owners of the land where the rhinos are being bred. According to Public Relations Officer UA Bashir Hanji, this is being done to secure the rhinos at the sanctuary.
Following the conflicts between Rhino Fund Uganda and Ziwa Rhino and Wildlife Ranch Limited and Captain Joseph Charis Loy, this prompted Rhino Fund Uganda to file a suit in courts of law, which court has heard today. The case before High Court Civil Registrar Jameson Kalemani, the African Rhino Fund Uganda, informed court on how they are operating the sanctuary.
What does that mean? That you go and try to evict to change the status quo. You fail. Now you want to come to court and mislead court. Oh, there's nothing protected. Then if there's nothing protected, what were you evicting?
Rhino Fund Uganda, through its lawyer Henry Chilunda, told court that although there is a pending matter in another court, they have received threats from the respondents, telling them to vacate the place, which they want court to look into and determine this matter.
Of the affidavit in support of the application, which clearly states that the applicant on 15th of April stormed with use of guns hired by them, stormed the sanctuary.
The applicant also dismissed allegations that they shifted their offices from the sanctuary to Ntinda, although this was objected by defense.
And the general manager even clearly indicated that to come here came from the sanctuary.
But the letter is there for everyone to read. The head office and the ED are relocated. And now they are coming back to sneak in through an interim, through an injunction.
In his submissions, Richard Omongole, counsel to Ziwa Rain and Wildlife Ranch Limited, told court that the application was longly filed before this court, since the applicant Vincent Openyi, the general manager of Rhino Fund Uganda, did not first seek permission from the Rhino Fund Uganda to file this suit on its behalf, while presenting letters from Ministry of Tourism dated 19th April 2021 and that of Uganda Wildlife Authority. The respondent informed court that the suit was overtaken by events, since the sanctuary is now in full control by the government of Uganda.
The Honor Annexure B, dated 21st of January, addressed to the Executive Director, Rhino Fund, notice of revocation of the wildlife use right permit for the management of rhinos, clearly stating takeover of Ziwa Ranch Sanctuary and immediate closure. The applicant has no permit to manage the rhinos. It was revoked on 21st, and the letter of 20th reaffirmed that position.
The respondent also told court that since the sanctuary is now in full control by the government, for the applicant to decline to vacate the sanctuary, this is a trespass. According to the respondent, there is no threat since the government directed the applicant to vacate the place, and of now it is providing full protection to the rhinos.
These guys are squatters on my land. That's what they are now. They shouldn't be there. They don't have a legal status to be on that land. Let them go and set something else. When these animals go away, when they are taken away to other places, that's where they should be.
After listening to both sides' submissions, High Court Civil Division Registrar Jameson Kalemani said 26 April 2021 to deliver a ruling in this matter. Following the wrangles between the two parties earlier this week, Uganda Wildlife Authority closed the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary from the public until further notice, saying that the conflicts between the parties are likely to compromise the safety of the rhinos. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with business news.
Has anyone seen Bob? Over here! How did you get in there?
With my Airtel Money MasterCard.
But you don't even have a bank account.
Well, it's not a card. It's virtual, so no plastic, and it's safer.
But what are you doing there?
I want to buy Nancy a birthday gift, book my flight tickets, renew my Big Flip subscription, and order shipments.
The Airtel Money MasterCard. It's not a card, but works just like one. Get one on the Airtel Money menu on your phone.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm going to pay URA visit.
But you can access URA online. Why pay a visit?
To know more about the Kakasa Business Solutions, namely Digital Tracking Solution, the Voluntary Disclosure Program and Electronic Fiscal Receipting and Invoicing Solution, which have turned my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
2020 was the year the tourism sector got disconnected. But this year, we reconnect. To leads, growth, to industry experts, to wider markets, to untapped potential. Be part of the first ever virtual Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo and engage with industry experts from around the world. Find out how you can grow your leads, put your tourism business back on the map, and a whole lot more. Sign up for free at www.poate.co.ug/register and reconnect with your world. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo runs from the 27th to the 29th of April 2021 and is proudly brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we learn, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
You're still watching the UBC News Roundup today on the 25th of April 2021. In our business stories, coffee farmers in Mubende this week tasked government through the Uganda Coffee Development Authority to run training workshops to boost their trade. This was during a coffee exhibition at Nabingolo, Kasambia constituency, Mubende district.
Coffee growing in Mubende district has been a mainstay since time immemorial. But the falling standards countrywide have not spared the farmers in this area that are crying foul, especially over the low price on the world market. They now request government through Uganda Coffee Development Authority to emphasize educative training workshops, targeting improved quality that will attract better prices.
Tusaba mu government tuyambe tugenda tusabe emmwanyi abalimi ne bawandiika ne basaba emmwanyi naye emmwanyi zigenda okujja nga sizoni eggwayo ate sizoni bwe banga eggwayo neera ne batuleetera omwanya obuto nga buli mu inchi ezinga 7 kati akamwanya akugenda okukasimba mu kinnya kuba olutonya ng'ekabika.
This was during a coffee exhibition at Nabingola, Kasambia constituency in Mbende district, which attracted more than 500 coffee farmers.
Management is also thinking through
an approach of having parish agents at every parish level who will be our contact persons to easily reach the farmers and give them all the initiatives that come with increasing production and productivity. We are encouraging them, for example, at the moment to stamp coffee. After stamping that coffee, there is an incentive of fertilizer coming to help them boost their trees, grow vegetatively well, and eventually be in a productive stage quite faster.
Government targets to harvest more than 20 million sacks of coffee that it will export, with local farmers advised to embrace the project.
In more news, at least 1,000 electricians across the country are to be trained by Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority in a period of a year. The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Mary Kitutu, is optimistic that fire accidents related to poor electricity connection will be minimized if people embrace using certified electricians. Details follow.
7 government vocational institutions across the country have been selected to train 1,000 electricians. The training is being supported by the World Bank through Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority and aims at eliminating the use of uncertified electricians.
That is those that we are training now, who are supposed to install power into the domestic and the industrial premises. That is Class D and Class C. But we also have Class B that is supposed to participate in the extension of the distribution lines, Class B. So we also have a shortfall of those. Then also Class A that is supposed to support us on the area of local content, because as we speak today, most of the projects in the transmission segment, that is 66 kV and above, undertaken by foreign EPC companies. And as we continue to promote local content, promote Bubu, we want our people to be trained to participate initially as subcontractors, and later on, as they gain experience, they gain financial worth. Why not take on these full contracts?
The Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Dr. Mary Kitutu, launched the training at Nakawa Vocational Training Institute.
Whenever there is a fire, they have always said it is electrical fire. And that's why we are ensuring that they are well trained. You know, many of them may have gone through the formal training, but the practical skills are very, very important. So what is being done now is to equip these technicians with the proper technical skills.
The Minister for Energy, Mary Kitutu, urged the trainees to tap into oil and gas job opportunities.
Need electricians, but this should be certified. And that's why I'm tasking them that they need to go to the Petroleum Authority of Uganda website, apply, and they are certified. So some of these trainings are helping them to get the certification for them to be able to be employed in that oil and gas industry.
The training of electricians has come in handy at a time when government is implementing the free electricity connection policy to ensure that Ugandans have access to electricity. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Katikiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has positioned Buganda Kingdom as a brand that investors in different sectors of the economy can leverage on for sustainable growth and development. Mayiga, however, cautions investors who go against Buganda Land Board rules and guidelines of getting land titles.
Kampala is the commercial capital of Uganda. Over the years, the city has attracted massive investments from local and foreign investors.
As we all know, investments come with direct financial injections. Which those near those areas of investments benefit from.
These developments have not only spurred social and economic growth of the central region, but also contributed immensely on Uganda's economic growth. The Buganda Premier, who was gracing over the launch of the Starbucks International Star Cafe at Lubiri Mengo, persuaded investors to work with Buganda Kingdom in order to gain more leverage.
We are the bridge to the market, my friends. So I invite you to work with us with a view to introducing you to the market. There is no bigger brand in this country than the Kingdom of Buganda. Probably it's the biggest brand even in East Africa. So Why do you sweat a lot? Don't make these small sweat breaks. Sweat big with a big brand.
His sentiments were re-echoed by Haji Hamis Kakomo, the Buganda Deputy Minister of Agriculture and Industry.
We want to thank you very much for being good tenants and always meeting your obligations on time.
StarCafe is a new development by Starbucks International, whose main objective is to provide a one-stop center for its customers. In the recent years, fuel stations have diversified their businesses to suit the needs of the ever-changing trends of the customers. Sadam Ubale and Dennis Sigoa, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a growth of several innovations and applications from some of the upcoming youth entrepreneurs in Uganda. Among these is the Tubayo application that seeks to promote and spur tourism growth for both local population and foreigners through affordable tourism experiences across the country.
Of technology during the recent lockdowns across the globe has enabled several businesses provide services to their customers and bridge new markets locally, regionally and internationally. For Brian Namanya, the Chief Executive Officer of Tubayo, an application which aims at boosting domestic tourism and hospitality, the accessibility of technology and changing trends in the entrepreneurship space motivated him to start his business.
I had looked up companies like Amazon, Alibaba, and seen the kind of impact they have. You know, these are companies that are serving over hundreds of millions of customers monthly. And when I thought back home at all these, the way business was done normally, like with office space and all, you can't even serve 5,000 customers in a day. So I knew I wanted to get into internet business. And after looking at statistics which showed travel was the fastest growing sector in Uganda and in Africa generally, and so that motivated me to get in there.
The Tubayo marketplace application is built on the shortage of availability of data and adequate information on the tourism sector in order to provide affordable tourism packages, services and experiences all in one online platform.
The future is going to be about convenience, about big selection and about great price for the customer. And that's the question we asked ourselves in the team when we were starting. What will be true 10 years from now? Will the customer demand great convenience? That was a yes for us. Will they demand great price? 10, 20 years from now, the customer will always want to pay the best price for something. You follow the steps. We've designed it in a way that it's so easy. About 30 minutes, you've even finished uploading your details and the pictures.
But what makes Namanya's business model different from the other tourism and hospitality online marketplaces like the popular Airbnb?
Airbnb is in dollars and Ugandans are using Uganda shillings. So that differentiator looks small, but it creates a big difference with the locals getting familiar with the platform. And then two, we enable mobile money payments. They don't enable that.
With over 400,000 youth entering Uganda's job market annually, the adoption of technology is important not only in creating job opportunities, but also marketing the businesses created. Charlotte Muge and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the UBC News Roundup today on the 25th of April 2021. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good afternoon. My name is Sharon Chomcha Sanyonga, and blessings to you and your family.